to talk about creating online content for your business, I believe, and some myths, some personal myths that he dispelled.
Yeah,
figuring it out.
close enough. So I'm Luke Murphy. I run a video production company, and today James actually wanted me to talk about how to create 30 days of content for 1 day of your time. But I thought the answer was a little too simple. You hire us to do it. However, after going through this myself with my own experience, I actually realized there's much more difficult obstacles to overcome before you press the record button. And a lot of these will come back to personal beliefs, although they will be perniciously framed as business problems around resources, time, and even skill sets. And maybe some Freudian stuff that we're actually not going to get into today. So who is this for? So I started my business 2 years after college, and really the goal was, how do I make a salary so my parents don't judge me for this decision? So that's been quite successful. I've doubled revenue every year for the last 2 years, and now we're on track to reach 100K in yearly revenue before the end of the year, thanks to some of the marketing plans that I put in place last year. So if you're B2B, solo operator, knowledge economy, you're looking to stand out with your expertise, this is for you, so listen up. And I'm also sure that James has flown in heavy hitters from large multinationals on private jets. So if you don't need to get to the same level of revenue, this might be relevant to you because you might be on sales calls with people like me, and you're trying to break down those same limiting beliefs to get someone to market their content or their business. Okay, so who here, by show of hands, has heard of cognitive behavioral therapy? Okay, smart audience. So Albert Ellis, one of the early researchers into cognitive behavioral therapy, essentially whittled down a list of 3 things that we use to avoid solving a lot of the problems in our life. And that's that we relinquish our power to circumstance, other people, and beliefs about ourselves. And in business, this can look like time and money, colleagues and customers, and our skill set. So I actually had a lot of these roadblocks starting out on my own content marketing journey. So I actually only posted my first video in June of 2022, and I run a video production company. So clearly the advice I was giving to other people did not apply to me. And I actually had everything shot for about 6 months, and I still hadn't published it. So I think this is a good case study into realizing why, even if you have the equipment, the production systems, belief can still get in the way of publishing. But my business goals, fortunately, made me confront some of these psychological barriers. So firstly, circumstance, often playing the role of time and resources. So this looks like content creation would be really great for my business, but there's no time or money for that. And these are actually some really simple problems to solve if you actually take the premise that content creation would actually help your business. So you could time block a day, and even with some of the technologies that James talked about, you could create a month of content. And then using some of the basic editing apps on your phone, you could actually publish it. But those are just excuses. This was my excuse in 2022. I have too much client work. And then I saw Alex Hormozi, who runs a portfolio of businesses doing over 100 million in revenue, posting every single day on multiple platforms. Oof, that's confronting. If he can do it, then I think I should be able to do it. He's a little bit more busy than I am. So, belief break number 1. If it mattered, you would prioritize time and resources. Okay, second problem, other people, playing the role of brand reputation. So now you realize it's technically possible to make videos, and now you actually have to post it online. Alarm bells suddenly go off, and I am faced with 2 contradictory thoughts in my head. First of all, no one will watch it, and secondly, everyone will hate it. So how could something that nobody knew existed stoke up controversy? But we'll take it one by one. Okay, so first of all, no one will watch it. Okay, that might actually be true at the start. No one might actually watch it. But people already pay for your service. If you're a successful business owner, they have indicated by their money that they are interested in what you do. and there's actually 8 billion people in the world, I think you'll be able to find an audience somewhere in there. And on the tough days, what I like to use is a growth calculator. So you can just grab this from like your LinkedIn analytics, 1 to 3% of your audience growth a week, and just project that out over time. 2,000 followers next year. Okay, that's not too bad. I'll keep going. So, secondly, it will ruin my brand. Again, I don't know no one was watching this, so how could it ruin your brand? And if it makes you feel better, you can make 10 videos and throw them in the bin and publish the 11th one. At the end of the day, competence is a choice. We decide to become good at content creation in the same way that we decided to become good at business when we started it without knowing what the hell we were doing. So, underneath all these business arguments, what's really the case is if I expose more of myself to the world than usual, I will find out what the world thinks of a truer version of myself. So now from my villain origin story, I actually started making content doing FIFA commentary videos at 13, and my gamer tag or channel ID was Murph FIFA Gaming. Cringe, I still cringe today. And I did a pretty good job of destroying all the evidence because I could not find it for this presentation. If you do manage to find it, you can blackmail me for a small amount of money. So why did I actually stop? And it wasn't slow growth. It was like maybe a couple of subscribers a week. That's fine for a 13-year-old. It wasn't even mean comments. Most of those were actually quite funny. I can probably still think of some today. I probably can't mention it on stage. The real reason is actually that people at my school found out. And I didn't even tell my family that I was doing this, so it was embarrassing, The odd comment in the hallway was enough to actually make me stop doing this. And that's what it often comes down to, residual emotion. We make decisions based off what someone in our past or in our life previously might have said about it. They're not even around you anymore, and they still affect decisions. But what's worse than that? The fact that that would have been 12 years of publishing. I would be a lot better at my job. I would probably have a bigger online audience, and I might even have some free swag sent to me, and maybe some passive income. Oof, that's rough. Okay, so belief break number 2. The value of growing your business is worth more than the security of obscurity. So, lastly, we're cutting to the bone here, yourself. Often playing the role of, I'm not qualified to do this. And for me, this was, I don't have enough experience to do this, people won't take me seriously. And for business owners that I work with, it's often, I won't come across well on camera. And then, ergo, that will ruin my brand's reputation. This is actually very easily solved. One session of media training can vastly improve your ability to speak to an audience, and it's actually a life skill. I'm doing it right now. But the real reason is there's no gatekeepers in the world of online publishing. So you can never know if you're right for the job. So you don't pick yourself because you don't want to risk being seen as an idiot. So you end up making content instead of content. And what this looked like for me is creating videos about facts rather than having an actual take on something. There's no personality because personality takes vulnerability. I started making videos on video best practices. And again, there's no risk in that. No one is going to tell you you're wrong for saying, you will grow your social media audience if you post every day. It's like, yes, of course. Not exactly a risky opinion. So recently heard this from Justin Welch, he does well on LinkedIn. I think he's got maybe 500,000 followers or something like that. And he essentially doesn't make a post unless it has a strong opinion in it. But it's tough to do that because you have to actually take responsibility for what you believe and what you know. So here's 3 strategies that I actually learned from him that I found effective for standing behind the content that you make. And I will translate from LinkedIn buzzword here to actual English. So first of all, lead. Essentially what that is writing down your accomplishments, your failures, and talking about how you did it or what you learned. There's share. You could go and research a topic, amalgamate the information if it's relevant to your target audience, and then present that in a way that no one has done before. And the other thing you could do is discover. So you could go out there and you could research someone in your industry leader, again, amalgamate the information. You could do a survey, collect the data, you could do an experiment and tell people about it. But the benefit to all of these things is that the information is yours. And that is the ultimate leverage that we have on social media, is what we can share that is uniquely ours. So, belief break number 3. Nobody is going to tell you you're ready or right, you must decide for yourself. Okay, was that helpful?
Yeah.
Great. So what it ultimately came down to is when I decided that I care more about growing my business than the emotional distress it would cause along the way. And things have gone pretty well since. So if you are looking to get on this journey and you're interested in getting in touch, I would love to have a discussion. My email here, luke@wakingdreamsmedia.com. Thank you.